Good morning, everybody. According to the official timekeeping system of the United States of America, my Verizon Wireless Apple 15 phone, which is not paid off yet, it is exactly 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Pacific. And if you're watching us or attending from the great states of Hawaii or Alaska, it's a wee bit early in the morning there. Well, thank you so much for attending the National Social Security Advisor Certificate Program, our Social Security Open Forums, which we hold every other week. And the times alternate between 10 in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Many times I get an email from one of our advisors saying that they like to attend, but they can't attend so early in the morning, their time. So sometimes you do have them scheduled for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I want you all to know that I am going through our advisor listing on our website about halfway through. I'm purging all the advisors that have not renewed with us. I have not really kept up with that very much over the past little while. And my son Aaron and I were spending time on the phone on Zooming going through the website. So in a couple weeks we will be finished. So I'll be sending out a newsletter telling all the advisors that we purged and that they should look at that advisor listing and see if they're on there or not. Because if you're not, a couple of reasons why. Number one, you have not renewed, and number two, you have not filled out the Google document form to be listed on that website. So just give us a couple more weeks. If you go in today and you see yourself on there, it doesn't necessarily mean you've renewed. It just means that we haven't finished purging folks out. So anyway, I thought it would be a good exercise to do that. It's taken a little longer than I thought. Anyway, good morning, everybody. It's a cold day in Cincinnati, Ohio. Skies are blue. We're expecting 60s and 70s over the next 3 to 5 days or so, but I couldn't be any happier. My Cleveland Cavaliers won their first playoff game against Orlando. And of course, the Indians are in first place and have the best record, I think, in the American League. I'm not positive. And don't worry, folks. I don't expect that to continue, but at least for today, that is the case. Anyway, who said boo? Jim?
I said the Who.
The Who? Oh, the
Cleveland
Indians.
what? Guardians.
Yeah, no, still the Indians in my mind, and they always will be. Anyway, they go to Atlanta over the weekend, and we'll see how well they do against the number one team in the country. So you know the role here and the policy, how we do things. If you want to jump to the head of the line, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll get to you ASAP. But between now and then, no one's raised their hand, so I will just kind of go through Hollywood Squares and see how well we do. The first one up today is Pamela. Hello, Pamela.
Oh, hello.
Hi. What's on your mind today?
You know what?
They drag it out too long, and at the end, just kind of make it seem like meh.
I didn't get you on that, Pamela. What did you say?
I'm just checking in to follow and watch and listen today, but thank you. Just getting in.
Thank you for being here.
You bet.
Adolfo, you raise your hand. Go for it.
Yeah, I did. I actually spoke with a prospective client and advised them to go down to Social Security and claim an ex-spousal benefit. She's currently 64. Her full retirement age will be 66 in 10 months. She was married 10 plus years, and the Social Security office told her that because her ex-spouse and her benefit were only a couple of $100 away, that she wasn't eligible for a benefit. She has not turned on her Social Security benefit as of yet.
That doesn't matter, Adolfo. If you remember from our class, deemed filing applies to ex-spouses. And so if an ex-wife files for benefits, she must take her own benefit. And then if she's eligible for something off of her ex-husband, she'll get that spousal boost also. In your case, if both benefits are pretty similar, there's no spousal benefit payable. You can't claim off of a spousal benefit and then wait to try years later. Can't do that.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just thought her eligibility off of the ex-spousal,
Well,
even though she hadn't turned hers
No,
on.
so I can't do that. You can't draw off an ex-spouse without taking your own benefit first. That's due to deemed filing.
Got it. I'll go back and review.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
talked about that quite a bit in the class. So deemed filing applies to everybody except for surviving spouses. Okay. All right, we'll go to Sue. Sue, you're next. Okay, Barry. Oh, never mind. Sue, you're next. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, all these spouses, the different types of spouses, the ex, the deceased and the present, it's always really, really confusing. So I'm always glad someone is asking a question. It's best just to remain single and happy, but otherwise, here we go. I just found my certificate when I became, passed my test with NSSA. Okay, and I've signed up for, whatever it is so that I can, continue. Is that continuation without having to take another test like we were proctored?
Yeah, to renew, you need 8 hours of CE. Unless I tell you otherwise, if you haven't renewed for a couple of years, then you may have to take the class again. But normally you need to pay the renewal fee and submit 8 hours of CE. You get that CE at no charge from the monthly get-togethers and bi-weekly get-togethers like these open forums and also our update webinars. Or you can retake the class, and there's a cost to retake the class of $500. So you don't have to retake the test unless I tell you you need to.
Okay, and the 8 hours, how many of those? I mean, I attend as many unless I'm out of the country.
Yeah. You fill out the CE form, and if you attend 8 of our get-togethers, like these open forums and the update webinars, just put them on the CE form, and that will qualify.
Okay, so we should be keeping track every time we attend one of these things.
At least make a note, and then you're going to fill out the CE form when it's time to renew.
Okay, and how will I know when it's time to review?
I will send you an email when it's time. If you have questions about that, just send me an email and I'll look up your situation.
Mark, you are such a dear with Jim. Thank you very much. I learn a lot all the time. Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, Sue. Appreciate it. All right, Barry, you're the first time you're on one of our open forums. Go for it. You're on mute, though.
No, I don't have any questions yet, Mark. I'm just listening in.
Okay, great. Thanks, Barry. Josh, you're next, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. My question was, how do you generally deal with those that are very concerned about Social Security and the issues surrounding it with government legislation and the possibility of it going away? I know for those who are much closer, they're grandfathered in. But for those who are starting to think about retirement and looking at that in their early or late 40s, early 50s, what's the best way to kind of deal with those concerns?
Jim?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would tell them it's not going away. Worst case scenario, benefits would be cut 20%, so they would see less of a benefit, but it's still going to be there. People are still going to be working, paying into Social Security, and they anticipate having enough income to, between the FICA tax and the income tax people pay, to cover 80% of their obligation. Some changes will probably be coming down the pike for those folks. For instance, full retirement age probably will be 70. I saw somebody the other day said something about 69, but 69 or 70. So full retirement age will probably go up. They'll probably raise what we pay the tax on, caps out at $168,600 this year. I'm sure that'll go up, and they'll probably change how benefits are calculated for the higher earners. But yeah, you just have to let them know it's still going to be there, but certainly they want to prepare for other sources of income. So just don't depend on Social Security. Make sure they have investments and that type of thing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Paul, you're next. Our good friend Paul.
Hey,
Paul,
how are you
I
today,
forgot
Mark?
where you're located, Paul. I know we had dinner with you, but I forgot what. Oh, Houston.
Houston, yeah, fine, doing fine, just listening in, grabbing good info all the way. Thank you, my friend.
Nothing else, Paul?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Aletta, you're next. Miss Knapp, are you there? Okay, we'll go to Free. Oh, yes, you are.
No questions today, just listening in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Fraser, you're next. You're on mute, Fraser. I mute everybody. Still on mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
Thank you. Just to kind of state the obvious, the PIA is their full retirement age benefit.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's simple. I see it's Jim. I can't answer some questions along the way.
Yeah, occasionally.
Let's go to Greg. Hi, Greg.
Morning, Mark. Hi, Jim.
Hey,
Question came up today with a planning client that I was working on. Kind of a unique circumstance. There's a 12-year age difference. He is older. He is the higher earner. So his benefit is key to the longevity of their financial plan. The question is, if the husband predeceases the spouse prior to her full retirement age, and she wants to collect his survivorship benefit, which would be, she would have, if she was full retirement age or older, she would have claim to 100% of his if it was greater than hers, correct?
yes. Yes.
Okay. And then if she's younger than FRA, her, and she claims the survivorship benefit, it is discounted, correct?
Yes, it's reduced for age. Yes.
Okay, perfect. That is the advice I gave, and I just wanted to double check, make sure that was 100% correct.
Of
All right.
course,
Thank you.
Greg, don't forget, earnings test will apply if she's under full retirement age. And don't forget, deemed filing doesn't apply, so she can take surviving spouse benefits, switch to hers later, or take her benefit and then switch to the surviving spouse benefit later. So there could be some options there.
So from a planning perspective, she could take hers or at like 62 or older,
Hmm?
and then switch up to his later on. Is that right?
Yeah, at her full retirement age.
Okay, and then if she did that strategy, her benefit, her survivorship benefit would not be discounted?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. That's great.
surviving spouse benefits are very important to understand, definitely when you're meeting with clients and prospects. It's
Yes,
number
thank you.
it's the third leg in our three-legged no. Yeah. Leg number three in a three-legged stool. All right. Let's go to
Jim, can I ask a question? Sue here.
uh-huh.
Yeah, what the gentleman was just describing, if she takes hers first, there's no way, because he died, that his will be going up every single year thereafter, correct?
Just for cost of living, but right, it wouldn't go up because he's deceased, so he doesn't have earnings.
Okay, and if she earns a lot less than he, you'd have to do the number crunching to determine if it would be wise for her to take hers, unless Dean would throw her, affect taking his. Is that correct?
Well, if he's deceased, deemed filing doesn't apply. So yeah, you would have to look at her amount versus his amount and figure out what's the best way for them to go. And if he was a higher earner, what you're looking at is, can she get by on her own from say 62 to her full retirement age, then switch to his at full retirement age and get his at 100%.
And what's really the benefit of that if his is so much higher?
Well, she takes it before full retirement age, it's reduced for age, so she gets less. And if her own is a pretty decent amount, then she may be able to get by on her own, or so that's what you have to look at. What is the amount of hers, and is that strategy work, or is it better just to go ahead and take his whenever it's available?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, see, where were we? Lynn, you're next, Lynn.
So Jim, I know you're going to probably have to be the one to answer this. On the bottom of the SSA statement, it has a social security number dash a letter. What do the different letters indicate?
Indicates a type of benefit. A means it's a retirement benefit. B means it is a spousal benefit. B1, there's a B1. I think B6 is a divorced spouse. B1 might be a divorced spouse as well. I'd have to check that one out. But B
is there
is
a place
spouse.
I can find it in Palms or somewhere?
It's in there, but it's hard to find. C stands for children. D is for widow benefits. W is for widows. D is for disability. So, it's in there. Send me an email. I'll see if I can find it because it's hard to find, and I'll send it to you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Greg, you're up, Greg. What's on your mind today?
One additional question that seems to come up all the time. If someone, it's a statement question. If someone stops working but doesn't file, are the numbers on the statement accurate, or is the statement assuming that the person keeps earning at that level, even though they're not?
I can answer that question. So the statement, the statement will ultimately reflect zero earnings going forward, but not right away. So if somebody had positive earnings in 2023 and they were posted in 2024, benefits would be based on those positive earnings. In 2024, no earnings, Social Security will look at 2 years ago. So they were looked at 2023. And if 2023 earnings were positive, Social Security will utilize those earnings in projecting benefits. But if 2024 and 2023 are both zero, then Social Security will assume no earnings up through age 70. So if the previous year was zero, Social Security will look at 2 years ago. And if that figure is also zero, then Social Security will assume zero earnings. And then you may see benefits go down because the benefit estimate will probably decrease at that point.
If you have someone that's in between that 2-year period and they want an accurate number, is there a calculator I can refer them to on SSA.gov that'll get to that number? Okay.
Jim?
Yeah, there's calculators on the Social Security website. You just have to have the list of yearly earnings, and you plug in your earnings and just show no future earnings, and it'll give you a calculation.
Yeah.
The easy way around that, take a look at their disability benefit. Because if you look at a statement that somebody pulls up today, their disability benefit includes earnings through 2023. And so it doesn't project earnings.
Perfect. Thank you both.
Appreciate it. Okay. Carrie, you're next, Carrie.
Good morning. I'm listening in this morning. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. Inspire Wealth, what is your name? Okay. George, Laura, go to George. Okay, we'll go to Darlene. Hello, Darlene.
Good morning, Mark. I do not have any questions today. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Adolfo, did we got to you yet? I thought we did. That's why I skipped over you.
Nope, we talked about mine. I just wanted to make sure it is ex-spousal.
Jim?
Well,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, repeat it. I'm
Okay.
old. I can't help it.
That's it. We're all getting old here. Hey, so the question was an ex-spousal benefit.
Oh,
If-
yeah. You were number
yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, she hadn't claimed her benefit, but she wanted to claim off her ex-spousal.
Yeah. My answer still stands. It doesn't change.
Yeah, deemed filing applies to spousal and divorced spousal benefits.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Cynthia, you're next.
Good morning. Just listening in.
Okay, thanks.
Always good to hear. Thanks.
Steve, you're up. Steve Gonzalez. Let's go to my favorite Medicare person, Andy, because he takes care of my Medicare. Hi, Andy.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
You're good. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
I guess you're
good to
not
be
in
here.
your annual enrollment period, are you?
We are not there yet. Thank goodness we're not.
Okay, good, good.
My question today is about a deceased person. So let's say they pass and their family has to do some sort of business with Social Security pertaining to that. Maybe there's some complications with stuff from before, but they don't have any sort of authorized representative or anything on file with Social Security. So how can a family member assist with a deceased family member's Social Security stuff after that?
Well, first of all, the Privacy Act doesn't apply to deceased people. So someone whoever the minister of the estate could show their papers showing that they're in charge of the estate. Could be the spouse, the surviving spouse, just show, look, that, I'm the widower. And so if there's none of those, the children should be able to take care of that. But there shouldn't be too much of an issue with that since the person's deceased.
Okay, so the executor of the estate would provide that paperwork, and that should work. Okay. Thank you. That was it.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Krista, you're next, Krista.
Thank you so much. Just listening today.
Okay, this is going by way too quickly, Jim.
Yeah.
I think it's Carlos Martinez. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Carlos.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Disability question today. I have an individual who has applied, was denied, appealed, got denied, and is kind of disillusioned with the process and is wondering is there like a start over after so many years, or if they appeal once more and get denied, are they done forever, or is there sort of a point where she can apply for disability and start the process again?
Yeah, this one's a tough one because it depends on some things. But first of all, you should never give up on the appeal processes until you get through the administrative law judge. So if she applied and was denied and filed the reconsideration and was denied again, she should file for a hearing before an administrative law judge. And the reason for that is her original application date is protected. And no matter how long it takes to get the hearing before the judge, then if she's approved, they'll go all the way back. If the appeal period lapses, so she files that request for reconsideration, she's denied, and 60 days go by and she does not appeal that decision becomes final. And she can file again, but a couple of things come into play. One, the initial application date's gone, so they're just basing it on the new application. So she could lose some benefits if she's approved. And the other point is she still insured for disability benefits? And by that, I mean, does the 2040, where she worked 20 quarters out of the 40 quarter period before becoming disabled, has that expired, or is it still good? If she's still in the 2040 period, she can file a new application. If she's past that, then she wouldn't be able to apply because they made a decision. She no longer meets the eligibility for a new application, so she's kind of stuck. So always file all the appeals. The administrative law judge, you have a better chance of being approved than you do at the reconsideration level. Just put it that way. She may want to see if she can get some third-party assistance, a lawyer in her area, or someone who works on these types of cases to help her. But always go through all the appeal processes.
Now, does it matter if it's a different disability claim or a new type of disability?
Well, I would still go through the appeal process, because the judge can say, okay, you weren't eligible, you weren't disabled on your original application, but you're disabled now and it started on this date. It just gets her a little closer. It allows the judge to make a decision on the first one, and he can go ahead and follow through and make a decision on the second one if he doesn't think she's disabled from the first one. But if she's still within her the work requirement period, she could file a new application on the new disability, but then she's just basically starting all over.
Starting all over again. Okay.
Yeah, but if she's past her 60 days, that may be what she has to do.
Okay. Second question regarding spousal benefits or survivor benefits. Does it matter if the deceased spouse was on disability? Does that change the calculation?
Well, what it does is if she was on disability, she'll remain technically entitled on her own work record, because there's there's eligibility for Medicare if you're on disability, and either she's on Medicare or she's earned some of the time to get her closer to Medicare, and you don't want to lose that. They would still pay her the higher benefit as a disabled widow or widower, but yeah, she would remain technically entitled on her own, and they could pay her as the surviving spouse.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlos. Allison, you're next.
Good morning. I just wanted to verify that the child in care benefits that are available, that they remain available for a non-working spouse, like caretaker, once the child is an adult, if the child is disabled.
Yeah, there can be child and care benefits if the child is disabled, but it depends on the severity of the disability. They may be disabled, but can still care for themselves. And so the child and care benefits may not be approved. But if the child needs pretty much 24/7 care, then the child and care benefits can still be paid, even though they're past age 16. And even though, you know, the child doesn't need a disability decision at 16 to continue benefits, the parent would, because, you know, normally child and care benefits in when the child reaches 16, but if they're disabled, so they'll still make a disability determination, but it depends on the disability itself.
My last question as it relates to that is that I had heard that the child and care benefit, so let's say mom is working, that there's an earnings deduction or reduction for that. But I have also heard, and I want to verify if this is true, that even if mom is working and the earnings deduction would make a zero benefit later when she's not working, it would go somehow retroactive or something. So somehow someone said that even if they would get a zero benefit, they should go ahead and apply for the child in care. Is that accurate?
Not really. The child and care benefit is subject to the earnings test. If her benefits are reduced or eliminated because of her earnings and she stops work, the only thing about her having already applied and being eligible is you don't have to go through the application process. But they wouldn't go back and pay her back benefits because now she's no longer working. It would just start from the point where she stopped work.
Got it. Thank you.
The problem with that is if the family maximum kicks in, because if the family maximum is being applied and she's working, her benefits stop, but the family maximum is still being applied towards the others. So if Family Max is involved, you wouldn't want her to file until, if she's not going to get any benefits, until the numbers reduce where she could file and it doesn't affect doesn't lower anybody's benefits. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Jim, I have a follow-up question on child and care benefits. What happens, let's just assume it's the wife, the mom that's receiving it. What happens when she turns age 62 or full retirement age and she's been receiving and is still eligible for child and care benefits? What happens?
Well, at 62, nothing happens because child and care benefits are not reduced for age. It's just the percentage of the PIA. But at full retirement age, she would revert to spousal benefits because there's no reduction for age at full retirement age. So instead of child and care benefits, it becomes spousal benefits. But
no change in amount, right, Jim?
No change in the amount.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ethan, you're next.
Yep, nothing, just listening today.
Thank you. Steve's iPhone, you're next. Okay. Jim, let's talk about the restricted application. I don't have much longer to talk about it, but I'm going to still bring it up through May 31st because in theory, it can still be used. What's happening there, Jim, relating to the RA, resident alien?
Yeah, pretty much nothing's happening. Technically, if somebody was 70 in December and they have not applied yet, there may be a possibility of the restricted application and the back benefits that are payable. Remember, you can go back 6 months. So if they apply now in April, they can go back to what, November? 3, 2, 1, 12.
Yeah, it seems right, Jim.
Or October. They can go back to October.
Close enough.
So they could get 2 months of the restricted application benefit off of their spouse and then switch to their own effective with December. Is it going to be worth going through all that? Well, I don't know. It depends on your spouse's PIA. So it could. I know the people at Social Security would grumble, but hey, who cares? They have to do their job. So technically, it's still available. Odds are you're not going to find anybody who was 70 in December that hasn't applied on their own yet, but you never know.
Okay. I want to go to Andy Stamos. Andy, you are a Medicare person. So Andy, about 2 weeks ago or so, I sent you an email about a potential travel to Israel. Yeah. Because I wanted to see if my Medicare coverage would be good for international travel. Andy, what did you tell me?
Yeah, so in general, Medicare is not going to cover you outside of the United States. There's some rare instances like you're on a cruise ship and you're within a certain number of miles from the coast, but let's assume that's not the case. Medicare is not going to help you. Now, your supplemental coverage may. So if you have a Medicare supplement plan or you have a Medicare Advantage plan, they typically have some foreign emergency coverage. But I never like anyone to rely on that exclusively because you just don't know where you're at, what you need. Can you be flown home? So it's more of related to the emergency, not all the extra intangibles that can happen. So we always recommend, we don't sell them, but we always recommend that people get a travel medical insurance policy that's robust, get it through a travel agent or wherever you set your trip up with and just kind of read the fine print.
Yeah, Andy, you told me that I think it's Medical Mutual for my supplement policy. You told me they cover $50,000 lifetime in if I travel international. Am I right on that?
That's right.
Okay, and I knew that wasn't a whole lot of money. 50,000 goes, just like that. So, and you told me you gave me the name of a couple of insurance companies I can contact, and I went to one of their websites the day you told me. And I punched in my information, punched in my destination, and they said there's no coverage for me.
Oh, really?
Well, maybe it's because of Israel. I mean,
Oh,
who wants to
yeah,
cover somebody that might be going into a battle zone? I don't know.
that
So,
could be it. That could be
so
it.
you gave me the name of two companies, so I contacted one. I'll contact another, but I doubt I'll really receive anything. Andy, what's new in terms of Medicare?
Well, I think for the Medicare beneficiary, not really much. It's more it's more us on the agent side. Medicare is doing all sorts of changes behind the scenes, making our lives difficult. So it's not really anything that bothers the Medicare beneficiary. Like for instance, we have to record our calls. They're really cracking down on those bad actors that are out there. So it's making everybody else do different changes like recording calls. But for the beneficiary, really not much. It's been very stable. Medicare covers what it covers. There's not much changing there. If anything, they add little things here and there, small stuff. They were trying to add a couple of years ago, dental and vision and hearing. It was going through Congress, but that it was incredibly expensive to do, so they didn't do it.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyone can buy coverage if they want to. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have my own
there's
dental coverage.
yeah, that's available anytime. So yeah, really not much. I mean, the commercials are still out there. They're obnoxious. They're misleading.
Yeah.
And we're always having to clean up. I heard this on TV and they said this, and like, well, it's not true, or that's only for somebody on Medicaid. So that would be my thing to mention, is that what you hear is typically just an enticement to call that number, and you're probably not eligible for the thing that they're mentioning.
What's the biggest thing they're mentioning that you may not be eligible for? I'd like to know, 'cause I don't know.
$3,000 food card. That's the common thing we hear is, I want to get that $3,000 grocery card. And it's like, well, if you're on Medicaid and Medicare, yeah, some of the dual eligible Medicare Advantage plans have that, but the typical person on Medicare is not going to get anything like that.
How about what percentage of your clients, Andy, do you think end up with the Advantage plan?
If you asked me that question 10, 12 years ago, it would have been a very big difference. It was like 75, 80% Medicare supplement and the rest Medicare Advantage.
Okay.
And that gap has been closing each year, to where this year, the first time ever, it's been a 50-50 split.
Okay. I thought it was more than 50-50. I thought it was more like 60% on Advantage plans. That's what I thought.
Well, probably in another year or two. Yeah, it probably will be more than half, because it's been heading that direction for a while. So yeah, it's about 50-50, but it just depends on who you're working with. We have more than 50% in Medicare supplements. It's just the person that we got in front of, but we show both sides and really let the person decide based on their circumstances. But it's a pretty good split now.
There used to be, on the commercials you see on TV, they used to talk about being able to get your Medicare premium reimbursed. Just call and give us the zip code and we'll tell you if you're eligible to do that. What's going on there?
So those are in the Medicare Advantage plans.
Yeah.
There are some of them that have a Part B give back is what it's called.
Okay.
And yeah, you basically sign up for the plan, and the plan decides how much they want to pay you back for being in the plan. So some might be small, only 40 or 60 bucks a month. Others could be 150 a month. And for someone who is already in a Medicare Advantage plan and they're happy with that, and income's tight, food's expensive these days, and they're like, oh yeah, I'd like another $100 in my put back into my Social Security, which essentially offsets your Part B a little bit, then that can be helpful.
Okay.
But you are going to give up something by doing that. So if a carrier is going to give you that kind of money, there's some other part in the plan that you're probably not, it's not going to be as strong.
Okay.
So some of those plans don't have any drug coverage, maybe, or they which you might need. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay, and then finally, Andy, since I'm 68, I have questions about Medicare, so I ask you all the time. But now, Andy, I forgot what it was that I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, Yeah, because I'm 68. I'm not Jim's age though, so I'm still younger than Jim. Uh, how easy, because I have, like I told you folks, medical mutual. And a friend of mine was going to use ARP. So, and then I asked you, Andy, how easy is it to switch from, let's say, medical mutual to ARP for the supplement plan? And then I also asked you, what would my savings be? So how easy is it to switch from one supplement to the other?
So when you say supplement, it's important to mention that we're talking about a Medigap plan.
Medigap.
Which is different than Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage doesn't have health questions. You can do it once a year, the switch. A Medigap plan, in most states, there are health questions if you switch after having Part B for 6 months. So as long as health is good or moderately good, then you answer the health questions and you get approved. But if you have some chronic issues that are pretty bad or take some really interesting medications, you might not be able to make that change.
Okay. But in terms of my premium savings, even though ARP was less, it wasn't much less, maybe $100 for the year.
Yeah.
I think. But then I'd have to join ARP and that would be like 15, 20 bucks. So it wasn't a great deal, but it was still a slight savings for me.
Yeah,
Andy,
I think if
go ahead.
Someone changes a Medicare supplement Medigap plan, you don't want to do it for 10 or 15 bucks a month.
No.
If it's 30, 40, 50 plus dollars a month, okay. You know, it's worth going through it potentially. Yeah.
How many, Andy, of your clients percentage basis would switch from Medigap from one to the other?
From one side to the other?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't mean to say that. One side meaning one Medigap policy to another.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
A very small percentage. Most people don't want to mess with it. Health isn't, you know, probably improving as you go into retirement. It's either staying static or getting worse. So usually we're not seeing much activity there, but there's a few that really like to get every last bit of savings they can. And they reach out every 3-4 years and say, hey, let's see if we can save some money. So it's not a large percentage. I would say definitely low single digits.
And then finally, what percentage of folks might go from a Medicare Advantage to A and B?
That direction, not as often, because it's harder to do, right? Because you have to go through the medical underwriting.
Okay.
We see more the other direction here and there, that somebody's in an original Medicare with a Medigap, the premiums are going up. Maybe they're not using it as much. They want to save some money. They want to go to Medicare Advantage. We see that more often, but not like a huge movement, not a huge trend.
Okay. Andy, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but we didn't have that many questions. And I just wanted to talk about Medicare a little bit because we did
that's
touch
fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Andy, what states do you cover in Medicare?
We have 9, about to have 10, but Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. And one of our employees, his wife got a job in Arkansas, so they're moving to Arkansas, so we're adding that one soon.
Okay, maybe you'll be in all 50 states plus DC sometime.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't blame you. Okay. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate you being there.
No problem.
Okay. Jim, let's go ahead and award 2 gift cards. Let's see. Give me numbers between 1 and 20.
9 and 17.
Okay. Lynn? And Carlos. So Lynn and Carlos, please send me an email and to remind me that you won the $50 gift cards. My email address is mkiner, Kiner, at mypremierplan.com, and I'll send it to Aaron, and we'll get to those gift cards going. All right, Jim, let's talk about some other questions that might have come up recently. I know, Jim, I received an email from somebody or talked to him on the phone. A client was going through wanted to apply for SSDI, And there was, I don't remember exactly what it was that they wanted, why they were thinking they'd qualify for SSDI. However, though, I said, well, based on that illness, I really don't think you would be approved because there's other things you can do in life. But then they reminded me their client was in their mid-60s. And I said, yeah, probably maybe based on the fact that their ailment might not itself qualify for SSDI, the fact that they are in their 60s would mean that they have less likelihood of finding another job. Jim, can you respond to that, please?
Well, they look not only at somebody's condition, they look at their age, education, and work experience. And so all that factors in. Yeah, probably true. The older you are, the more likely an approval would be. But, you know, it's not guaranteed. You can apply at age 60 or 61 and still be denied. But they do look at those factors. So depends on their overall health.
Okay. In our Social Security update webinar last week, I talked about an email I got from SSA, and it was about a podcast called Social Security Talk, maybe. I don't really, anyway, it's put on by the Social Security Administration. So anyway, that's what it is. And the interviewee was the commissioner of Social Security. I get you, Barry. I see your hand is raised. His name is O'Malley. But before I talk about that article or blog, I want to go to Barry and see what's on his mind. Go ahead, Barry.
Mark, well, my question is, if somebody is reached full retirement age, may continue to work, and they go past age 70, does their benefit increase?
It could.
Okay.
New earnings must exceed the lowest year of indexed earnings used in the calculation. So Social Security will always look at new earnings to see if by recomputing benefits go up. If they do go up, probably not by a whole lot, because as you know, we do index earnings for inflation for prior years, bringing them up to today's dollars. And many times benefits don't go up. So Social Security will look at that each year. Jim, what would you like to add?
Yeah, that's the way it works. For instance, and it's usually around October before they get around to it. So in October, people will start receiving notices that their 2023 earnings increase their benefit. They'll get back pay back to January, and then they'll increase their benefit from that point forward. But that's only if the new earnings are higher than the lowest year used in the calculation. And it doesn't matter your age. You could be 90 years old and still working, and they'll look at those earnings to see, can we increase your benefit? So the calculation is reviewed anytime earnings show up on an earnings record. And if they can increase the benefits, they will. But as Mark said, it's usually not a whole lot because those prior year earnings are increased for inflation. The current year is just whatever you actually earn.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And another second question, what lost my train of thought. What happens if I lost my train of thought just that quick. I'm old too, guys.
Yeah.
I'll think of it and come back. I can't remember what it was.
Okay, thank you. All right. So O'Malley was interviewed by on the SSA podcast. And a few points he made. Number one, he thinks it's unacceptable that the number of months somebody might wait for an SSDI application to be approved, and he wants to cut that down. Number two, he thinks it's unacceptable for the wait times. When you call the 800 phone number, it's unacceptable how long people need to wait. He threw out a 44-minute type of wait time, but I kind of think it's longer than that, but who really knows for sure? He really wants to cut that down. He also indicated that SSA, on a percentage of benefits paid out, SSA's administrative cost is less than 1% of the benefits paid out. And he said that was a great percentage. But then over the last 3 minutes, I was thinking about that a little closer because it's true, it's less than 1%, but it's less than 1% because Congress won't approve anything more than that. And people get really bad service. So it's really not such a good deal. Jim, what do you think about that?
Technically, it's always been 1% or less. So
true.
Yeah, I mean, the Congress does have to give money, and that's what he's after. That's what he says, what he says. And if they get some money, they'll spend it on hiring some people, which will be good, but it takes a while for those folks to become productive. They'll spend some of that money on new technology, which I guess is good. I remember when we first went to computers from papers, we had a whole bunch of people retire because they didn't want to deal with those darn computers. I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, the commissioners are always outlining things that they're looking for. I remember in 1990, we got a new commissioner, and he came out with his Vision 2010, and all this stuff he wanted to do by 2010. And all I said was my Vision 2010 is retirement. So I just started looking forward to that as early as 1990.
And then I contacted you in 2009.
That's right. So they all have their visions.
Yeah.
And they'll make some progress. Disability is an issue. Disability initial applications on average can take, they say 4 months or so. It's hard to say. It depends on where you live. I was talking to some folks, I think they were in Texas not too long ago, and they were dealing with someone who filed for disability, and it'd been over a year since that person filed, and they still didn't have a determination. So they do need to make some progress. They always have the trying to make their communications less confusing.
Oh yeah, that's right,
a little more public friendly, so that someone who doesn't know Social Security can understand them. I'll tell you, sometimes people would bring in letters and ask us, what does this mean? And we'd have to tell them, I don't know. I don't know what that means. And we'd have to contact the payment center and find out. So there's my dog back of me, but he's getting restless. He's getting tired of Social Security, I guess.
Is he on Social Security yet, Jim?
Not yet, but he's the most knowledgeable dog out there about Social Security.
I wanted to let you know, if you're interested in receiving that blog, I get a blog whenever something comes out from SSA. I get a blog. You can go to ssa.gov website, and you can go ahead and sign up for the blog. I find a lot of good information that comes. A lot of information I don't really care about. For example, when they update actuarial publication, I don't care. I just delete those. But then sometimes I do come up with some good stuff. The commissioner says something, and other things too. Like not long ago, they had a blog about Social Security for women. Yeah. So some stuff is good. Just go to ssa.gov on that one. Jim, what's your last Social Security question you've answered for somebody?
Answered some questions about WEP and GPO. Not only do I get questions about how they work, but there's some proposals out there.
Oh yeah.
About eliminating them. And I guess maybe there's more activity than there has been in the past. I still wouldn't hold my breath, but remember, WEP is for your worker benefits. It's you're eligible through other types of work. You're eligible because you've earned your 40 credits. Where government pension offset applies to spousal benefits, ex-spousal benefits, survivor benefits, surviving divorced spouse benefits from somebody else's work record. WEP will never eliminate your benefit entirely. It'll just reduce it. Government pension offset can and oftentimes does completely eliminate someone's benefit. Remember, those fact sheets are out there. So if you have clients that are affected by that, just get a copy of the windfall and the government pension offset fact sheets. I keep a copy on my computer, so when I need one, I just print it up. But getting some questions about that here lately.
Jim, about 300 Congress people did sign off on the proposal to eliminate WEP and GPO. And an article I read, somebody had handicapped it down to maybe a less than 10% chance of that proposal going through. Somebody recently sent us some information on that, Jim, but that's kind of what it said, less than 10%. Jim, you don't think it's going to go through? Hi, Tucker. You don't think it's going to go through, right?
Yeah, I'd be real surprised.
Next question, Jim, that you might have answered recently. Oh, well, wait, Barry has a question. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you guys think as full retirement age is creeping up, 67, 68? What do you think is gonna happen to Social Security once it gets to 69 and 70? Are they gonna raise that?
Well, it's not really creeping up. It's at 67 today.
Right.
There's nothing in the law that says it's creeping up to 68, 69, or 70. There are proposals in Congress to change the full retirement age to move it up. True, but nothing's happened yet.
But it goes up 2 months every year. No,
it stopped. It's 67.
Okay.
For people born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is 67, and it's not changing.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I thought it continues to move forward. Okay.
Nope, not creeping up at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jim, we're kind of running out of time, but one more question, then we'll kind of call it a day.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I wasn't ready for that one. We get questions a lot about spousal benefits. And remember, with deemed filing, you have to take your own first before you take any spousal benefit, whether it's a spouse or an ex-spouse. The application you file is an application for both. So we've had some questions about the person is eligible as a spouse, but some time has gone by and they haven't heard anything. So they need to contact Social Security. You are protected because of deemed filing. If you file on your own today and you're eligible as a spouse today, but Social Security never processes that and never pays you, and 5 years down the road, that is discovered, you've got 5 years of back pay coming. So deemed filing protects you based on the original application.
And finally, folks, let's talk about a negative here too, about spousal benefits. If a wife is eligible for spousal benefit and she becomes, her husband files for his benefits, let's say when she's 63, and she's already taking her own benefit, she must take the spousal benefit at that point. Now, Jim, I forgot the question. The other question was, if she has not filed for benefits, can she still wait until her full retirement age to claim the spousal benefit, or will it bring her back to when her husband filed?
No, it's based on her application. So if she waits until full retirement age to file anything, then she filed at full retirement age and there's no reduction.
Okay. So I guess what I was saying is, if she's already receiving her benefit, she must take the spousal boost when she becomes eligible for it, and she cannot wait until her full retirement age. Am I right on that, Jim?
That is correct.
All right. Got something right today. All right, folks, we're done. Hope to see you in Cleveland on April 30th. We have a class there. You get to attend for only $500. Use the discount code RETURNING. We have 3 spots remaining for our Cleveland class. All right. We're done. Thank you so much for being here. Jim, any final comments you'd like to make?
No, just make sure that people understand their own situation and they maximize their benefit that fits within their situation, not their neighbors.
All right, folks. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.